We are going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. As normally, it is 8 a.m. like usual. It is 45 degrees outside, and it's a chilly 45 degrees out. It looks green and sunny out, but that wind's blowing pretty good, so I don't know if it's going to feel like it's going to get up to 60 degrees today, but I don't know if it's going to feel like a warm 60, so keep a light jacket handy because it was chilly when I opened the door this morning. So keep that in mind. Traffic conditions are slow right now. Again, the on-ramp to 169 off of 76th Street is your congestion point like usual. It's really not backed up too far, but it's just that's where it's going to choke you down and slow you up. So be prepared for that if you're commuting into Tulsa. It shouldn't be too bad and it shouldn't take too long, but just know that it's going to slow down right there. And it looks like it stays pretty slow well on past the railroad track bridge over there beyond 76th Street. So keep that in mind as you plan your morning commute. Now, with that being said, local news, not a lot has changed. Everything on the calendar is still the same. You still got the Wills and Thrills coming up. And that's about the only thing really on Owassoisms on the calendar, and the Chamber of Commerce is done this week. So,
No, they're not done this week.
oh really? What'd I miss?
Well, you didn't miss much. Like I said, they're pretty much wrapped up, but it's the monthly meeting is today at 12 at the Tulsa Tech campus up there.
Okay.
At the Owasso Tulsa Tech campus. So
Is there like a
today.
guest speaker or something? Or?
Yeah, they always have a guest speaker lined up for the talk. So let me double check everything in here on it. Looks like it's Dan Collard, which I'm not sure who that is.
Mm-hmm. Does it say what his expertise are, or is he just a chamber member who?
Nope. Doesn't say much about him. Sure, there's probably local people know who he is, or there's certain people know who he is. I just don't. But I'm not in the loop on that.
Yeah, well, if you know who Dan Colliard is, or you want to go and be involved with the chamber, go.
Yeah, it's $30 for members and $40 for non-members to get in to eat because it is lunches provided.
It's a luncheon, yes. So,
but that is it on the chamber for this week. Owassoisms has not added anything new to my knowledge. I'm double checking right now. Yep, it's just that sensory skate event by Wills and Thrills.
Cool.
So. And that's really it. The only other thing we have is our OKC Thunder. Unfortunately, we lost to the 76ers last night, which brings us down to third place in our standings again because the Timberwolves and the Nuggets are still right there with us.
you blew it!
They did blow it. But we're tied with the Timberwolves right now, but they're in the second position because they are on a winning streak right now. They won their last game, whereas we lost ours. And the Nuggets, again, are only ahead by one win right now. That we're tied with losses.
Okay, good deal.
So that's really it on local events. So I guess we can go ahead and move on to what's going on in the world.
Okay, so disappointing news. I know it's just but again, it's. So I'll kind of preface to this. So bad news always sells easier than good news. Like good stories just don't hit very hard. Even Facebook knew this. This is why the BLM and anti-cop sentiment took off, because despite the fact there is so little police abuse, we talked about that. The Harvard professor, who's a black dude, who did a study showing that there are no disparities in between racial differences in police shootings. Like everyone is basically shot by the police by race in the same rates. So there is no racial disparity. So, but back in the early 2000s, so 2010 era, hate was weaponized. So this is why all this controversial police shootings would pop up, like the what was the first one? Was the Michael Brown case, and you had the
Trayvon Martin
case. So those took off in Facebook because hate sells. Our emotions against hate and what we perceive as injustice are weaponized very easily. So Facebook knew this, and this is why those algorithms carried those hateful sentiments carried by the BLM folks and by anti-cop sentiments carried so far, and why they got so much traction. The algorithms fed that to people. And it's the same with so Chad and I have been posting a bunch of shorts here recently. And I made a bunch of our Gamergate 2.0 talk that we had a while back or last week, and I posted a couple. One had some kind of uncouth jokes in it, but like I said, nothing that nobody wouldn't mind taking on the chin. It's not a big deal, so it's just a funny joke. And it just goes to show you that people see what they want to see, and people are more motivated by hate than they are, what do you call it? Joy or happiness or love. So I made a joke, and if you remember the joke I made an off-color joke about a video game character looking like a trans person, and Chad and I had a good chuckle about it. So that one took off when we posted this short. And then I did a short, literally, like a couple seconds after that joke, I was talking about how I was defending the developers of the game, saying they were not anti-trans, they were not out to hurt people, or they're all very sad by the revelation that they might have hurt their voice actors' feelings. And nobody watched that video. That video has like 30 views. The one that I posted that had the joke in it took off, has tons of views on it. And people were like, yeah, how dare you make that joke? But like, again, if they watch the full video or the full episode, they can see me and lay out my full case. Yes, I made a joke. Was the joke nice? No, but it's a joke. It's not meant to hurt. It's just a joke. It's not meant to, it's at their expense. But again, people have to be able to laugh at themselves, or they're never going to take any joy out of life. So it just goes to show you that people seek out hate more than they do love, joy, or compassion. Because again, the clips are literally seconds apart in the video. So it's me making a joke and then me defending and laying out my case for why those people who created that game and developed that character didn't do it with malicious intent to hurt
the person's feelings.
So again, it's the same way with the news we consume. So whenever you hear me speaking, like we're talking about news, and the vast majority of news that you hear, news media in general, it's all bad news because bad news sells. If you write a story about a guy saving a bus full of kids, that's good for one day. Bad news, guess what? You can write policies about that. They will pass laws about that stuff. So that's why bad news is weaponized more than good news. So again, people will search out what they want to see. So again, I apologize that we always talk about what seems to be bad news, but this is just what's out there in the ether, out there in the universe. And this one's pretty depressing. So our brothers in arms who defended the border and got attacked and assaulted by that mob of criminal illegal aliens who come across the border, all of them, not one or a handful, all of them were released today by a judge into the United States for assaulting U.S. soldiers.
Let's let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah.
People who are not citizens of the United States who attacked our
military service members
who were arrested and put into custody in the United States are now being released into the United States.
Yeah, and I'm sure they will have a court case to plead their case for their status here in the United States, and they'll never show up. They're going to get their free cell phone, they're going to get their $10,000 debit card, and then they're going to disappear off into the ether of the United States.
More than likely.
Never show up for a legal dispute. Not have to buy car insurance. And again, guys, this is why I tell people who, obviously we're in the insurance business right now, and people are upset. My rates are going up. My rates are skyrocketing. Yeah, we know. And you know what the biggest reason for auto insurance increases are going to be? Illegal immigration is going to be a big one, because 40% of drivers in the state of Oklahoma, the last time they did this survey, which is probably a couple of years back, were driving uninsured. What do you think these illegal immigrants are going to waste their money on auto insurance? They're just going to go buy a beater. They're going to wreck into your car, not following the traffic laws that you know how to follow.
And then police don't arrest them.
Because there's no money in it. Like, we're going to arrest this person, then what? They're not going to be able to make bail. So it's just going to be another mouth to feed for us, the taxpayer, in jail.
It's also the fact that if they are an illegal alien or a criminal alien, ICE is just going to let them go anyway. They're basically catch and release program at this point.
Yeah, so kind of drawing this back to insurance practice. If you don't have uninsured motorist or you don't have a good healthcare plan that covers you for an auto accident, you better have uninsured motorist on your policy because it doesn't fix your car, but it is going to fix you for your bodily injury that you sustain in the event that you're involved with in a car wreck with an illegal immigrant who doesn't carry uninsured motorist or who doesn't carry liability insurance, which is all required by the state. People who complain about insurance, like it's a Ponzi scheme. Yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme if you never use it. But if you use it, it's a bet that you cannot afford not to have insurance. If you lose that bet and you decide to drive uninsured, you're screwed.
That's the best way.
You'll never financially recover.
That's the best way I've ever heard insurance put is you're making a bet that you're going to get into an accident. The insurance company is betting that you won't get into an accident or have an incident. Mm-hmm. That's how to think of insurance.
And if you get into a wreck, you win. Your rates might go up, but you still won because you can't afford not to have it. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're at fault in the accident and you cause major medical issues. And we all know we live in a litigious society. People will milk their injuries for whatever worth. Like, oh, I might have had a prior football injury and now it's worse because of the car wreck and I'm not going to be able to walk. I'm not going to be able to work for the rest of my life. Man, that's on you. You're the guy that hit me. So think about that. Like, again, illegal immigration is going to affect everything. Low-skilled labor, unskilled jobs.
Yeah. This is one of those things that people don't talk about how
unforeseen consequences
of illegal immigration is insurance prices skyrocket.
Yeah.
That's just one of the unforeseen parts. I mean, it's causing groceries to go up because there's more people in your area, mm-hmm. and there's not as much groceries as there used to be. There used to be an overfill mm-hmm. of groceries. Now there's not as much, so that they have to charge more to bring in more groceries and all this other stuff. I mean, this is the things that people don't think about when it comes to illegal immigration. It's just like, we need to help people.
Illegal immigrations, it hurts unions. If you're a union guy and you're working a job that basically anybody can do, and I'm not crapping on you. I'm saying the reason people unionize is typically because the skills that they acquire, the jobs that they can do, are somewhat replaceable in a short amount of time. You can train somebody how to do it. But if you are pro-union, you cannot be pro-illegal immigration because they will train those illegal immigrants how to do your job, fire you, and then make sure that those illegal immigrants can't unionize. And they're hard workers, illegal immigrants. Like, I remember listening to a Hispanic dude who came and was like repaving our parking lot, and he cracked a white people joke, and he was like, the joke, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he goes, the gist of it was a white person's never actually put in a hard day work in their life. Like, that's why you call Hispanic men to come and do the job that white men are incapable of doing, essentially. That was the premise of the joke. Like I said, remember, this joke was told to me in broken English, so I'm sitting there trying to comprehend it, but that was the joke. So, think about that. Those illegal aliens who assaulted my brothers in arms on the border are all free to go. Welcome to America. Beat up our service members. Welcome to the U.S. Disgusting. If you're for that, you're for people who sacrificed their time away from their families, their friends, sacrificed their time in service to their country, and their country dumps on them by letting the people who assaulted them and pushed through them and run through them at the border, and then be like, welcome to the U.S. There's a lot of soldiers who would probably love to get a $10,000 debit card on the behalf of the U.S. taxpayer. I know, I sure would. I got some ways I could invest that $10K much better than the illegal immigrants coming across good, these criminal aliens. Millions have come across, folks. This is nuts. And our tax dollars are facilitating it.
Yep.
Our tax dollars are facilitating child trafficking. I mean, Dr. Phil did that expose where he was talking to those ICE agents or whatever, and they go, yeah, we're talking to these criminal aliens, and they have these kids, and they just have the address, like literally like concentration camp stuff, Jewish Holocaust stuff, where it's like, yeah, there's addresses written on their arms, and we just take them to them. we're facilitating either sweatshop working children or human trafficking, sex trafficking for kids, child enslavement.
Yep, pretty much.
Your tax dollars funding all of it. It's disgusting. And while we're on the subject, I'll push on because that was pretty morbid and dark, but I mean, it's not going to get much prettier from here. So pushing on to staying with the theme of Texas and illegals. So, and this is alleged at this point too, but we know that the numbers I'm about to give you are real. So about 200,000 voters were registered in like the last 2 weeks of February. 200,000 voters were, and these are not, so there was, I was listening to the Timcast this morning, they were saying the difference between, is this new voter registration or is this the government going through and updating the rolls? It is not them updating the rolls. It is them. These are new voter registration. These are new people who are registering to vote. 200,000 were registered in Texas in a 2-week period. The numbers that I'm about to give you now are from Missouri. So this is a little more than 60,000 people were new registers to vote, were newly registered to vote in Missouri.
This was to get non-identification voting.
Yeah,
correct?
And in Texas, that was it. So in Texas, they didn't have their IDs. They didn't have a driver's license. They just used the last 4 of Social Security's. Like there was no proof that they were who they said they were. They were just like, oh, this is a last 4 of a social. Sign me up. So that's a problem. The fact that all these 200,000 people in Texas were assigned. And again, we don't know for sure. This is all on paper, what has been pushed through to the voter trackers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a lot. 200,000 in a 2-week time frame, and all of them didn't have a photo ID. This is why why voter registration needs to be a thing. Why voter ID has to be a thing. It can be a separate government-issued card, but crap, it has to have an actual address associated with it, social security number. I don't know. There's a lot of issues, but this is one of them. So, again, that's Texas, 200K voters, no IDs. Just word of mouth, yeah, here's the last 4 of my social. Now, am I saying all those were done through malicious means? No, by no means am I saying that. But I am saying that's awful suspicious. Now, pushing on to Missouri, this is where some stuff's really being found out in Missouri. So, again, 60,000 people in Missouri were newly registered voters. Again, this is not them checking the rolls or updating the rolls. This is people who were registering as new voters. Of that 60,000, 23,000 of those voters were found out that they were dead. Of the 60,000 new voters that were attempted to be registered, 23,000 of those voters that were registering to be new voters were known to be dead. Think about that. It's a lot of dead people. So what we think this is, and this is my opinion and perspective on it, but I think this is the Biden trafficking of the illegal immigrants. Remember a while back, Biden was trafficking people in the middle of the night, flying illegal immigrants all over the U.S.
Yeah, that has been confirmed.
And
Biden was flying illegal immigrants all over.
Yeah, this is not conjecture. This is real. Biden, the administration has been flying voters or illegal immigrants to hostile states who vote against Biden. So in all these states, Missouri could be one of these states, and guess what? You have 60,000 new voters in a week. This is a week time frame too. We know this for a fact. It's a week time frame that these new 60,000 voters were registered, and 23,000 of them were dead. So that just means that, this is again my opinion on the matter. This could be excuse me, I keep hiccuping. This could be conjectural on my part, but what I'm thinking is they flew these illegal immigrants in, gave them the last 4 of some dead folks' Social Securities, or some people who've maybe moved out of that state Social Security numbers, and said, hey, here's you're going to vote for us, and we're going to keep giving you those $10,000 debit cards, and you can live in Missouri. Look for a job. Look for work. That's my opinion on the matter. That's what I think. Somebody else who has maybe done a little bit more research than I have, or maybe understands what this is. But again, this is unprecedented. The mass movement of people by the U.S. taxpayer, by the Democratic Party, into states where they know vote against them. And then overnight, in a week period, people voting. Or, excuse me, people registering to vote. And then again, 23,000 of them were known dead people in the state of Missouri. This is just Missouri. I'm wondering what they're going to figure out in Texas with those 200,000 voters in a 2-week period. I don't know.
Which this is why I believe that mail-in voting should be illegal.
Yeah, mail-in voting should be illegal. You should physically have to show up and,
there should be like some sort of like facial recognition, signature, in-person thing. And because this is ridiculous, the fact that, as we saw from the last election, just like people bringing in like 20 ballots, one person bringing in 20 ballots. They said, as far as I remember, they said it had to be like immediate family members.
Yeah.
There's no way that someone has 20 immediate family members.
Unless you're Catholic.
Even then, that's pushing it.
Yeah. Yeah, devout Catholics I know only have about 7.
Yeah. Most of the Catholics we know have about anywhere from 5 to 8 is about the number range, because you can't really get much more than that.
Yeah. So again, there is an incentive for these people to come here, these criminal aliens across the board. The Democratic Party has incentivized them. And again, the Republicans aren't blameless here either. I mean, the Republicans need to go harder, weaponize harder. They need to be like, hey, like Republicans, tell Texas, yeah. Tell the next Texas National Guard, hey, yeah, guys, your weapon's free. Do what you got to do. Repel. Stop the zombie horde from crossing the Rio Grande. I know that sounds harsh, but again, it's not going to take that many bullets to change millions of people's mind whether or not they want to come here. They're going to be like, oh, wow, you mean they shoot people that cross the border? Yeah. Okay, well, I guess I'm going home. Like, guys, we're humans. Humans adapt quick. The minute you hear, like, oh, you mean they shoot people that do that? Yes. Oh. Like, right now, there's no repercussions. You can literally attack an armed service member at the border and then be given your cell phone and $10,000 gift card right after you get done beating the crap out of them.
And this is what I told everybody in one of the last shows that we had. I believe that this is them replacing all the New Yorkers and Californians that have left the state fleeing from the COVID regulations.
Yeah, California has had the first decrease in population in history this last year. Same with New York. Population decrease for the first time.
And that's the issue that we're having now. This is why Texas has been a majority red state for almost all
and now
time.
all
and
the liberal Californians are going over there and they're voting they're bringing their politics with them.
Yeah. First time in history we might see Texas become a swing state.
Yeah, swing state, purple. It's a purple state. It was a purple state last election. So beware. I mean, guys, Beto almost beat Ted Cruz. That's how close things are getting.
And can we talk about that for a second? The fact that Beto O'Rourke was going on talk shows and stuff in New York and California for an election in Texas. Why on earth was Beto O'Rourke
given national platform,
running for senator of Texas on a national platform where he's getting like facial recognition in New York, California, and places that don't have anything to do with Texas?
That's where all the money that was funding him was coming from.
Exactly. It was all out-of-state money. That should tick anybody off. That's election interfering by other states in another state's election, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Don't mess with Texas. Don't let other states influence Texas politics. Let Texas be Texas. Let Oklahoma be Oklahoma. I don't know. It's crazy. And I guess we'll stay with the crazy, but a little less Americentric. We won't be a U.S. centric now. We'll move on to the U.K. And again, this will probably be coming to us. Thank God we have First Amendment protections. But what I would say about this would be, if the UK's doing it, they're going to try to figure out how to do it here. Same as Canada. Like, I mean, Canada's already got no First Amendment protections. I mean, Jordan Peterson has to undergo re-education therapy for his views about trans people.
If he decides to renew his license,
his psychiatric license, his psychiatric license.
Correct.
So yeah, that's, I mean, re-education therapy, folks. Like, re-education camps, communists. I mean, that's crazy that anybody should have to go and be re-educated. I mean, like, this is the language of the left. Like, if you don't accept trans people, you need to be re-educated. Or, like I said, they go, you need to educate yourself. To what? That a dude thinks he's a chick? What do I need to be educated on that for? I get it. Do you? So, anyway, in the UK police have decided that they will arrest you for any disparaging social media comments for any deemed marginalized or protected class or group. So, if you say anything disparaging online to anyone that is deemed a protected class or in a marginalized group, you will be arrested. J.K. Rowling was not happy about this. Like, J.K. Rowling, like, I do not agree with a lot of J.K. Rowling's takes, but like I said, this is the stuff that she, like, when she, like, her trans women are not women stuff, I can agree with. This I can agree with. Like, so she started going off and disparaging all kinds of marginalized groups, particularly trans ones. And, of course, she's a billionaire. So the police were like, oh, she's fine, but it's you, the average citizen, that will be thwarted, arrested, and handcuffed and thrown in jail for your hateful things that you say.
Those of you that don't have a platform, or those of us that don't have a platform big enough to make a difference.
Right. Yeah. If you have...
Watch what you say, pleb.
Yeah, it's like us, for this show. If we had this show in the UK right now, they would be coming after us and arresting us. So, that's what we agree on. And you would think that, you know, countries we dislike, like Russia, would have more people being thrown in jail for this. But I'm going to show you a clip here from somebody who I like. If you guys know what trigonometry is, it's a really good show. It's a podcast like this, but they bring on, you know, they're well known, they're established, so they bring on really high end people to be interviewed. People like Jordan Peterson, people like Tucker Carlson. They're able to get very well known figures to bring on and interview their show. But Constantine, one of the hosts of the show, he has a clip where he talks about he's from Russia and he left the communist Russia to escape with his family and go to the UK for a better life. So he's very appreciative of his gifts here, but he's starting to see that the UK might be in a worse place than Russia was. I mean, maybe not back in the Soviet times, but right now with this woke crap going on around the world where people are policing speech and saying you can't say that stuff, it's scary. So, Chad, if you have that clip pulled up,
I have it pulled up. Let me pull up the audio.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, we'll just let this clip play, and you can and Constantine can say in his own words what he thinks. So
you got it. All right, I've got it pulled up. We are playing now.
2018. In Russia last year, 400 people were arrested for things that they said on social media. 400 people in Russia. Obviously, this country is very different. How many people do you think were arrested in Britain for things they said on social media last year?
Go on.
Take a guess.
I've no idea.
3,300.
Really? Arrested for what they'd said on social media?
Yeah.
Really? What sort of things get you
Well,
arrested?
one example I give in my show is there was a young woman from Liverpool called Chelsea Russell. Her friend was killed in a car crash, a 19-year-old woman. And she posted the lyrics of his favorite song on her Instagram. The lyrics. And it was a rap song, so the lyrics contained several instances of the N-word. Okay? She was arrested, prosecuted, found guilty, given 500 hours of community service and a fine, tagged, and for a year she was under 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew.
My goodness.
In Britain.
In Britain.
In 2018. In Russia last year, 400 people were arrested for things that they said on social media.
That's it.
Yeah, but that the other British guy's reaction says it all. It's like, is
I
it
think
really?
He's Australian.
In
but I
Australia,
could be
whatever.
wrong.
Good Lord. You know?
So yeah, but 400 people were arrested in Russia for posts on social media in 2018, and in Britain, over 3,000 were arrested in 2018
So
for posts for just social
social
media.
media posts against deemed protected classes. This is J.K. Rowling. Thank goodness for her calling this crap out. But again, nothing's gonna happen to her. She's a billionaire. She has she lives in a gated mansion and has private security. But you, the average person in the UK, will be arrested for this. And again, thank God we have the First Amendment here in the U.S. But we're with as crazy as things are in Canada and as crazy as things are in the UK, we're probably not too far behind. And there's already people. Again, Chad and I were getting tons of hate for just a couple of lighthearted jokes on our shorts that we have on our YouTube page. And again, nobody wants to see the truth or hear anything in full context. And again, the shorts are a horrible way to digest information, but it's the easiest way that people digest information. So people see a second short, hear what they want to hear, and assume the worst. And it's like going, maybe if you watch the full video in full context, you would have better understanding. But no, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is my outrage. The only thing that matters is my self-entitled sense of authority and justice. It's like, these people are wrong. They don't think the way I do. Therefore, they're evil. So that's where we're at. Not a lot of positive in the world going on right now, but, this is why you need to focus on your local community, focus on making sure that you conserve the traditions and values that you want conserved and upheld in your community locally so you can insulate yourself from this crap happening around the world.
Start inward and work your way outward.
Yep.
Start with yourself, move on to your family, friends, community, town, and then work your way out from there. Because if you start with the world and work your way in, you're never gonna
have time for
you're never
yourself.
gonna have time for yourself.
Yep.
Ever.
And that's the problem with the way people are viewing things. All these activists, like they look at it from a global perspective instead of looking inward. It's like, that's why all these activists look the way they do. If you see most activists, they don't look good. They don't look healthy. They look like the blue-haired crazy people in Wales you would expect them to look like. So focus inward. So that's about all we've got for you today. This has been the Twins with Owasso Live, and this was the Morning Luke. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. That really helps us gain traction and do what we're trying to do and build community.
Yeah. If you like the show, like, share, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. If you don't like the show, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
We're happy to have a little
Spirited chat.
with you in the comments below.
But yeah, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Again, this has been Chad and Corey with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. We're signing off. God bless y'all.
See you later, everybody.